Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of CodeRushed. Mark Miller here. Rory is on the line from the UK.
I am indeed. I am very much here.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm having a good day. I'm excited to be here. This is the highlight of my Tuesday, I have to admit, right?
Oh,
this
good.
is what actually is a Wednesday now.
Nice.
Wow. First time for me this week, that's what it is. And I got a little lost there on the day of the week. But no, I love doing this. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's not bad. So go ahead. You're ready to go.
Oh,
Excellent.
Ready to go, yeah.
Excellent. So last episode. So yesterday I was sick, not feeling well. So I was like, all right, I won't do the show today. And today I'm feeling well enough to do the show. And where we last left off, Rory, can you remind us where you were when you had to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've done a few episodes on particles and wind, which mired us for a little bit, but it was all looking pretty good by the end of that. And you were sort of starting to say, well, okay, now a bit more of a demonstration as to what we're going to move on to, where we're going to use this inside the role-playing game that you're building. And one of the pieces that you were showing us was the unfurling scroll.
That's right.
Okay? And you were going to have some of these effects from within that. So we saw like a top piece and a bottom piece, and we said there's going to be a piece of parchment in between, and perhaps the statistics on the character that was sort of up next would be displayed there. So
yeah.
That's what I remember from last time.
All right. So let me show you where we are. So at the end of the show, I was like, here it is right here. Here's the overlay right here. At the end of the show, we were close. But we had a synchronization problem between the scrolls that were opening and the frame rate that I was expecting us to be at. After the show ended, I took a break for a minute, thought about it, and then I was like, oh, you know what I should do is I should just bind one animation to the other, get the frame rate instead of calculating it and using what I'm expecting the frame rate to be, just use the actual frame rate from the piece that's already unraveling. So. Okay. With that, I realized that, I might have a frame rate calculation bug in one of these two different entities that are out there. One of the entities is the code that was contributed to us by Will Bennett. The other entity is the original code that we've been using for a long time. And so upon reflecting that, I was thinking, you know what? I think that the Will Bennett code is likely to be correct, and mine is likely to be incorrect. But however, I realized that, all I need to do is synchronize one to the other. They both work from the standpoint of viewing. They both work pretty well. They look.
Each is internally consistent,
or perceptibly consistent. Let's say that.
Okay.
But I suspect that there's a calculation problem in one of the two. So that might go on my to-do list of something to take a look at later. But for now, I got the whole thing to essentially work with just a couple lines of code after the end of yesterday's show. So if you stuck through it yesterday, it was a long show. It was like over 3 hours long, maybe even longer than that. But I could tell too that, I had not had any food and I was past lunchtime, and my capacity for complexity was diminishing near the end of the show. So that's what was happening. So I'm going to type in test open into the chat room, and you should see it open up right there. And so that's kind of what's going on there. Let me go into hold on 1 second, character stats scroll. Let me just change. There's one thing I changed just before this. This was, I think, 0 right here. Let me go refresh it, and we'll look at that one more time. This is where we left off, or where I left off in the check-in for today's code, which is right here, episode 71 begin. That's where we are today. Episode 71. Gradually working our way up to 100 episodes. There's the URL right there in the chat room. Okay, and we can close that right there, and here's where we are. And let's go do another test open like this. And so that's kind of where we left off right there.
Nice.
So
gold sparkles.
Yeah, it's not bad. But if you look carefully at it, The gold sparkles tend, I'm thinking, oh, I like it, it's done. But then I'm like, the gold sparkles tend to group together on a single line as it's opening up. And they also are all moving at the same rate, which means it's not as magical as if they were moving at a different rate.
Okay.
So I want to change that a little bit. Let's go into the scroll right here. And what I want to do is change my initial velocity just a bit. So I'm going to change my initial velocity 1 meter per second. And we'll refresh this. We'll come back over, type in test open again. And here it comes. And now
That's nicer.
Well, it's a little bit nicer, but look, it's all middle, it's separating from the middle. It's doing this. What I want to do is I want to make it so that I want to control the direction so that it does this a little bit, and this is all based on this is the
different variants for X and Y.
Yeah, this is the rectangular emitter that we created. The rectangular, what's it called? It was out here, an emitter, and it was the rectangular particle generator. That was based on the circle particle generator. Well, the circle particle generator was just basically saying, here's the radius, let's find a position, and then we'll get its velocity going out from the middle no matter what. Well, what we're doing in the rectangular particle generator is we're coming in here, grabbing its offset as a random number somewhere between 0 and its width. And basically, we're basically saying somewhere between that, and we're subtracting the half width because this is offset from the center of the particle of the emitter. So it's going to go anywhere from negative its width to positive its width. And then we do the same for its height. And then that offset essentially gives us a vector, which is why they're all moving from the center. They're moving away from the center. So I need to kind of play with this a bit if I want to get this to look the way I want it to look for the magic generation. So I have to play with this a little bit to figure this out in terms of what I want to do. I think that I want to change the basic premise of an offset here inside the get new particle position.
So would it be fair to say that you would like the particle to be moving in a given direction, obviously the vector that we're going to calculate, but not so much from the center of the particle emitter, but from the position where it got created?
Yeah, that's kind of what I want. And I'm not sure how I want to do that yet, Rory. I'm thinking one way is I could pass in a direction velocity, like an overriding direction velocity. And if that were the case, everything would go in that direction, right? So the offset would be truly random, like we've got. But then what we would do is we would have its velocity be would be in that particular direction. Let me just refresh my memory here. Position plus velocity is velocity vector. It is. Okay, so position plus velocity is there. So we're going to have a vector going out here. That's the initial velocity, which is here where we take our emitter velocity, what our velocity is emitter, and we add on the offset. So this offset serves two purposes. It serves as a random position, and it serves as the initial velocity. Okay, which is I'm arguing is not working in a rectangular generator. In a circular generator, it's okay, but here this is the problem. So I almost feel like what we need is kind of either an override. I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking it's an override. Or a, I think it's an overriding vector is what I'm thinking it might be. For the initial velocity vector.
So at the moment your offset is some random quotient between 0 and the half width. Which means the further from the center that it starts,
it's between negative.
The faster it will be moving.
It's between negative half width to positive half width, and the same thing with the y. It's between negative half height and positive half height.
So does that mean that all of the particles on the right-hand side, the ones closest to width, will in fact be moving faster when they start?
Yes, I think that's correct. It will, because we take that offset and we multiply it. No, but we normalize by dividing by the offset length. So they will not be moving faster. So
Okay.
so that this stops that from happening right here. But the multiply is happening here. The problem is, I think, this offset here. I think what we need is another parameter to pass in. But get particle position is called from add particle. So I think what I need to do is pass in something here, which is like a this dot initial particle direction. And we're going to assume this is like an undefined kind of thing. We'll set this at a vector, but we're going to assume we're going to initialize it to undefined is what I think we're going to do.
But you're also calling that from a point that doesn't know whether you're a circular or a rectangular emitter.
That's okay. I think I'm totally okay with that.
Will that still be a valid concept within the circular emitter?
I think it will, because it'll just be undefined. So
Okay.
so we're going to go in there, initial particle direction, and we could do this. We could also make it set to just vector.0 and check to see if they're both non-zero. And if they're non-zero, then we work with it. So we could do this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Different way of kind of accomplishing the same thing. So we'll say it's equal to vector.0. Okay. So there's my initial particle direction passed in to particle generator. And then I want to go into particle generator and get new particle position. And I want to come in here and add this as an additional parameter here, like this. That's a vector, like that. And let's put that in these two places as well, get new particle position in the circle. And then let's do it also in down here. Right there. Okay, so there's my initial particle direction. So now that I have my now we can actually let it play we can actually have it work. It makes sense to have it work inside the good circle particle generator. So I could say, here's my circle, but I want everything initially going in a particular direction. I could do that. So what I want to do here is I want to do something like this, and I want to say, I think I want to have a let velocity offset is vector, like this. And then I want to say, well, I guess we can just say that's equal to initial particle direction. And then we want to say if velocity offset dot x equals 0 and velocity offset dot y equals 0, then I want to say velocity offset is equal to offset.
Yeah, okay. Can we not just compare with vector 0 there, or does that give us a referential issue?
I've had problems with that. I've not been confident that that's worked.
Okay.
And so then I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to replace offset in both places here. So we're going to multiply by that. And then we're going to divide by its length, whatever that is there. So we're going to say initial velocity. I could do this to make this simpler, though, I think. Just check to see if length is 0. I think that'll work in all cases. Yeah, if the length is 0, then velocity offset is equal to offset. So initial particle direction, if it comes in with 0 length, then we'll see no change in behavior. So that means then this code here, I think all of that, I almost feel like could be inside of a function of the ancestor class. Right there.
Yeah.
I think so. It's going to take in an offset. Let's try this. Let's do an extract method. And what's it taking in? It takes in the initial direction, the offset, the emitter. Wow, taking in a lot of parameters here, more than I was expecting. The emitter velocity, the particle initial velocity. I guess that makes sense. All right, so we'll come in here and we're going to say get initial velocity, like that. And let's take this but move it to the ancestor class. Right there. And We need to call super. Is that one? And then we'll do this. And that should work. Is that working? Are we going to get rid of that that squiggly underline? Private. Let's make it protected. Okay, should be happier in a second. There it is.
Yep.
So there's my initial velocity there. And that means I can also have that same code down here in this location, which I'm pretty sure was the same as what we already had before. I just cut that to the clipboard. I'm going to just go in and double check it. I'm going to come in here and just paste to make sure that we are essentially, we have the same code here. Vector emitter.add, offset, multiply, particle generator.get value divided by.
It's looking good.
Yep, it's the same code. Okay, just want to double check that I have that in the same places. Now what I can do is I can now come in to my code back in the character stat scroll, and somewhere in here I can play with the. I can create this. I can say, okay, let's come in and say emitter dot initial particle direction equals new vector. And let's just do this. Let's just say it's x is 0 and y is 1, okay? And let's just see what happens. I think what will happen is we'll see one of the two go, but not both. And then what we'll do is we'll change that up a bit. So now let's refresh. Well, then it says, could also just make the parameter optional in the function. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Agreed. We can go ahead and change that. Just this dot, since it's not an override.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. You were calling super, which if you were to override it in the current class, would still be calling the ancestor version.
Got it. Okay, we'll fix that. We'll fix both of those in a second. Okay, so a little bit better. So let's look at it one more time. The top one looks good. The bottom one is not as good because they're coming in the other direction is what's happening there. So let's do a couple things on this. Let's change this equal to math.sine of wind speed. Like that. Let's change our initial particle initial velocity to a little slower. Slow it down to 4.4. Let's refresh. And here comes the test open command. It's not bad.
It's going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction. Just lasting a little longer than I wanted, but I don't know. I'm okay with it. So now we have kind of particles that kind of passing by each other. So it looks a little more magical to me. And it's going in the right, the pieces are going in the right direction. Maybe I'll drop their lifetime down just a little bit. Lifespan in seconds. Let's go down to, let's go to 1 second for now and refresh. And here comes, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got this nice kind of subtle magical effect. And it looks way more kind of random than before. Remember before we had all of those little line pieces.
Yeah, they were lining up suspiciously.
Now,
now it is a much more natural, much more sort of organic almost.
Right. The question is it magic or not? But now we're for sure that's clearly magic right there. And it looks golden, right? We did all of this with the particle generator. Not a lot of work in terms of getting the particle generator. Okay, so that's good. I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go fix the issues that Will pointed out here. This was over in emitter, I think, is where it was. And this is the piece right here where I can call this. I don't need to explicitly call it super, so that's just cleaning that up a little bit. The other piece was to change this to kind of give it a default equal to vector.0, like that, I think.
Yep.
But if I pass in an undefined, though, that's only if I don't pass something in. If I pass in undefined, is it going to, what's it going to?
Explicitly pass any, well, does the subsystem actually recognize the difference between passing undefined and not passing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like I have to write some code to answer that question is what I need to do. Let's do that. Let's say this is equal to vector.0. like this as a default. Let's set a breakpoint out here at our call and let's also comment out this initialization and comment out this initialization. And so now we've got all of that. We've got a breakpoint. The question is, can I set a breakpoint? You know what I should do is this. I can't really trust that the breakpoint's going to hit because Visual Studio doesn't really give me edit and continue in JavaScript and TypeScript. But what I can do is I can just send a console log message out so we know what's going on in this location.
Well, then it says, if you try to pass undefined and the function doesn't take undefined, TS will error, which is interesting.
I don't know what that means exactly. The function doesn't take undefined. What does that mean is what I want to know. And so what we want to do here is we want to say, so we just get initial velocity. And I guess I was thinking about this. Particle initial velocity. So if equals undefined. Actually, this is where I should set the initialization right here. .0. Okay. If you do default value, the type is vector. We got that. If you do a question mark, the type is vector or undefined. Oh, I see. Now, what is my problem here? A parameter initializer is only allowed in a function or constructor implementation.
How is this not a function implementation?
Oh, because it's abstract?
Oh, it's an abstract.
Oh. I'm in the wrong place. I think I'm in the wrong place. I want to do it here. Right there. That's where I want to do it. So if I do this, then undefined is not allowed in. But if I do that, undefined is allowed in. Right there. Now wait, what's my problem here? Vector is not assignable to type target. Oh, whoops, hold on. Oh, right, we're at the very beginning. It's the beginning one. Particle initial direction.
I was not aware that undefined was a type. I thought it was a value, similar to null.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would expect as well, but maybe that's not the case. All right, so now I'm just switching the order of these. Get initial velocity. That means I've got to switch the order here as well, like that. And
or are we suggesting that vector is effectively like a structure type in .NET, so that it cannot be null unless you explicitly add the question mark, allowing it to be nullable?
That's not my sense, but that's not my sense. Okay, so now we have particle initial direction, and if we pass in, so get initial velocity is called from here. Here we don't need to initialize that. Looks like we have not done it there. And here we are not initializing it, and here we are. We don't need to initialize it there. So then what happens, all of these call get initial velocity, and they continue to just pass in initial particle direction. And then get initial velocity. Here, the implementation of it, initial particle direction, sets it equal to 0. So I guess what we're saying here is if I pass in undefined, that's going to become 0, is what I think is, if we understand that correctly. And so now what we want to do here is we want to say, what's the test? Is there a specific test for undefined?
I am unaware, but I believe what Will is saying is that it shouldn't be possible to pass undefined to a vector, or to something that is only accepting a vector.
Hold on. You won't be able to pass in undefined. So
for that matter, you shouldn't be able to set something of type vector to undefined. So in the most basic sense, it should be a compile error.
Oh, really?
Now, I haven't demonstrated, I haven't proven it, I was just passing it on from Will.
Let's see what happens here. We've got a refresh, let's do test open. everything is going the wrong way like we saw before because we don't have that. Where's my console?
Yeah.
I'm not getting. So it's basically saying it's 0 is coming in. So it looks like it's coming in. We should do this one more time. We should say we should do a CL console log here that says velocity offset dot length is equal to 0, like that. So yeah, it seems like what it's doing is it's assigning it to 0 automatically for us. There's no undefined that ever is, there it is right there. So we're seeing a whole bunch of this come in here. One more time on the test open. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, although I did that, why am I not seeing the actual test open work? What just happened? Did I add some code that could have broken it? No. Huh. Well, something's clearly broken.
Well, the only code we've got is the actual comparisons themselves, which is strange to think that that would cause an issue.
I don't know. Start refresh. So maybe I wasn't done loading the page.
That's possible. So we are omitting all of this information despite not having invoked anything, so yeah.
Why am I still seeing these over here? Let's come in here. Hold on, stop. Empty cache, hard reload. Why am I still seeing these messages here? That's really bizarre. Because, I don't know,
This should
stop.
only invoke when you do a test open.
Yeah, when I stop, they're still sending out. Look at that. All right, let's close it.
Wow.
I think we've got...
Is it that it's not refreshing? It's so jammed up.
Yeah, that's what I think.
messages.
It's not empty and stopping. I think I've got to shut it down and restart it. So, okay, so I'm going to save this here. I'm going to go back to character stats, scroll, uncomment out this line of code right here. And I think we're pretty good. What we should also do, let's reload it, run it, reload it.
Will's asking, where do we put the default? It should be in the declaration, the abstract method. It seems that isn't where it is. We tried to put it in the abstract, but it didn't want it there without the question mark, which would have allowed the undefined value.
No, we were good actually. I'll show you. It was tried putting it in the default is in the highest level class. I was just on the wrong function when I put it in there.
Oh, I see.
Hold on a second. Let's forgot to do this. Forgot to kill every instance of Chrome. And then and I've got the chat room in Edge, so we're good there. Let's come back in here, debug, stop debugging, try running one more time. I'm pretty happy with this emitter. I feel like we've got,
It's kind of handy, isn't it?
we got a not bad kind of thing. You know what I want to do too is I was imagining this morning an emitter that could have a rectangular, a rounded rect, and it would emit particles from only along the edge of the rounded rect, all going outwards. So I could use that to highlight. Here, I'll show you in a second what I'm talking about. It looks like you did that already. Cool. So I could use it to highlight, for example, hit dice or dexterity for a saving throw. So during the show, if one of the characters had to make like a dexterity saving throw, then I could highlight it in that manner. So I could use just have the particles slowly kind of moving out.
That's right,
and give it kind of
the standard emitter kind of obscures the thing that it's over, whereas in this particular case, you wanted to draw attention to the thing within the emitter.
Yeah. Thanks, by the way, JNSQ7 for doing the test open on their test purple burst. Good. I wanted to check those. Test orbit. Let's check that. Test orbit is not work. Oh, I did 2 exclamation marks. Hold on. Test orbit. There's test orbit.
Nice.
So everything still appears to work correctly. Like here, you can see in this orbit, even though we haven't specified an initial particle direction for that orbit, they're kind of going out all from the center. Now, if we were to change that orbit and refresh it, let's just we'll do that same kind of test. Like here, we're going to take this line of code here, and we're going to do something similar in where's our orbit piece right here? Orbital. There's orbital right here. We'll come in here, and we're going to say that's equal to. We'll make it be 0, 1. So it's either going to go up or down. This dot emitter. Okay, like that. So we'll use that code there. We'll refresh here, and then we'll do another test orbit. Here comes the test orbit, and they should all be pushing up. Are they? In fact, hard to tell. We got to get really close in, but it does seem smaller.
Yeah.
Right? So here's our proof that it's working. Well, actually, you know what? We can do this. Let's do this because orbital particle initial particle direction. Let's make our initial particle velocity
gravity 9, which is pulling a lot of them down.
I'm gonna shoot everything out, and then you'll see it, and you'll be like, okay, great, okay, it's working. All right, so let's do this. World Wake is saying, All right, so let's do test orbit again. Here, somebody beat me to it, and there you go. You see, so the 1 is down, so they're shooting down like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call that totally awesomely,
pretty damn good. Yeah.
Beautifully working, right? And it totally looks like something natural, right? It's kind of a natural thing here. So I'm going to undo this, go back, undo that piece right there, restore that. The next thing I want to do is I want to start kind of putting everything together. So we come over here. I've got, for example, a test slam. If I run the test slam, watch it quickly. Here it goes. What? Why didn't that happen? What is the physical phenomenon being modeled? So World Wake is asking that question.
Shininess.
Shiny. Now, it's a particle generator is what we're doing. So hold on. Let me do the test slam again. Why isn't test slam?
To give a little bit of background, Mark's making another game, a role-play game involving sort of wizards and dungeons and dragons and things, and he's got a nice interface to show character stats and things like that. And so what we want is some magical effects to overlap things and overlay things. Maybe somebody casts a spell, maybe somebody disappears, maybe somebody, as we unfurl the scroll, as we saw earlier, a little bit of gold sparkles around. So a few different effects that will aid the stylings of said game.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Why isn't my blue? What's my blue? Yeah, we've got a couple of these out here. We've been last couple episodes. We've been building this this particle emitter. What is it? Blue ball is what? What is our blue ball? It's blue ball. Okay, I just didn't. That's my test I need to do. Okay, so let's come back over here. So it's not like a common space. No, it is not, but it could be. Blue ball, like that. There's the blue ball. So what's cool, though, is you can create a gravitational point, and the elements can rotate around that gravitational point. This blue ball is not, as I'm remembering it. I wonder if we made some changes to that. Where is that?
I seem to remember it being a fair bit larger.
Yeah, it was much bigger than that. And initial velocity, where's my gravity here? My gravity is 3. Yeah, I don't get that at all. I also don't understand how... what just happened? Test solo. Okay, somebody did.
Just testing a few other things. That's not the one either.
There's the test solo right there. I don't get blue ball why that's the case. Do I have an initial velocity? Oh, particle initial velocity target. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it like 5.3, and let's refresh and do a blue ball test again one more time. See what we're looking at there. Test. Looks like you're beating. I think. Blue
that was a
ball.
little too quick. Nothing happened.
There we go. It's a little bit, it's moving slower too. It's like the gravity dropped and the initial velocity dropped.
But wasn't there also a kind of an orbiting effect? So it was passing behind itself and flowing round in a kind of a...
Yeah, no, it was definitely, there was an orbit on here. I just want to go back to test orbit and look at that based on what I remember. That looks about the same. Oh, wait, I think I know what the problem is. It's not. We added wind since we tested blue ball.
Oh.
So I'm going to change this back, and we can change the wind velocity to 0, I think, is what we can do. How do we do that? Where's our vacuum? I forget where that comment was here. I think it may be in the emitter. Let's look for that. VACC. Nope. No vacuum there.
Does that suggest that we have a default value for wind that is non-zero?
Yes, we do. Yes, absolutely. That's why we're having this problem. Here we go. Air density, particle density. If we change this back in the blue ball right here to 0, it'll work, I bet, and look exactly like we remember it. So if we do this here and that there, like there, so we've got air density and particle air density, turning those to 0 on both of those. Let's come back over here, and then we're going to come in and do a test blue ball one more time. When that refresh occurs, looks like it's there. Did you get it? Looks like you almost...
May have
Whoops.
been early.
No, I messed. I didn't test blue ball. Did I get it that time? There we go.
There we go.
That's what we
looking
remember.
more like it, isn't it? And look,
Yeah.
there's the crossover, and then the coming back as well.
Yeah.
Much closer. That's it.
So that's when in a vacuum, right? So basically, we're using physics to generate particles that are behaving a certain way, and we can tell the particles that they have a center of gravity. We can have the emitter, the part. So right up in the upper right here, here's the emitter. That's got can have a gravity and a velocity, or it can be just fixed in space like it is here. That emitter doesn't move. But when we do the test orbit, in the test orbit, we have the emitter has its own gravity. And the particles, I'm not sure if they have a gravity or not for this particular thing. I think they're just flying out is what they're doing based on the velocity of the emitter.
Quite a few components now. So we've got wind, we've got initial velocity, we've got forces acting like gravity. I guess wind is to some extent one. But we have separate sets of these forces on the particles and the emitter itself. So there's many different effect combinations that we can get as these demonstrations kind of prove.
Right.
And it's great. It's
It's fun.
really, really nice piece of
All right.
visual coding.
So now I need to figure out why test slam isn't working. If I type in test slam, still not working. This was working as of this morning. Why is test slam not working? Let's look at that. Control find slam. Character stat stroll. That's slam. What's scroll slam.add? This should totally work. Scroll slam is being drawn. I'm like pretty much stunned that this is not working. I think I can set a breakpoint here.
Any errors in the console when you do it?
Okay, let's try that. Let's check that out and see what's going on. Is it maybe that it's not loading it up? Here's the console. Let's do it again. Test slam. Nothing. Set our breakpoint. I don't get it. One more time. Test slam. Here's our breakpoint. Scroll slam. We're adding frame rate, frame interval. Yeah, this is all as I'm expecting. The starting frame index is 0, which is where we want it to be. I don't think we need to really drill into here. We're in Sprite Proxy. We haven't touched this in a while. We're pushing it in there. And then where's our draw? Our render is here. Oh, is it because no, that doesn't make sense because I saw it working this morning. Scroll slam. There's our next breakpoint right there where we draw it. Are we not hitting the breakpoint?
Wow.
And we don't have an error and we're not hitting the breakpoint? What? We're here. Oh. Here's my problem. If not open start and this
is undefined.
Okay, so here's what I think is happening. We're getting out right here. We haven't started the open. So I think what we need to do to get scroll slam to work. Okay, got it. We're going to change this code in a little bit. So at least I understand now what's happening. So it won't work unless we open the scroll first. Just is what's happening because of the code we've got there. So I have to do a test open first. And there you saw the slam actually occur. So here I'll show you the slam. Here's the slam right here. Test slam, boom. That's the test slam. So what's going to happen is the first time when we change from player to player, what's going to happen is that scroll is going to slam down in. There'll be a sound effect with it, like a whoosh, slam, unraveling sound effect. and then we'll get to here, right? So test slam comes first, then it opens up. So what I want to do is I want to start turning this character stat scroll into something that has functions that are more like I want to just treat it like it's a scroll. So I want to say show page 1 of the scroll, or slam new page or something like that. And when I slam, it's going to open up that first page. And when I say show page 2, what I want it to do is roll up the scroll and then open it up again with the new page 2. So page 1 to 2 switch is going to go like that. So I want it to be fast like that, but I want it to also have a little bit of a sound effect, and I want it to have the magic particle as we open. That's what I'm looking for. So,
Cool.
So for slam, right now we've got this thing for slam, which is just like, hey, we're just opening this up. What I want to do is I want to get to, I want to start working on this like it's got some state to it. So let's create an enum here, and we're going to call this scroll state. And we'll start defining some of the states that we are going to support in this. So I think one of the states is slamming, like that. And should I do it lowercase? I think I should. So I've got slamming.
Are you going to include the state of not having ever been opened at all, so missing, as it were?
I was thinking about that, and I did.
So you go from missing to slamming to open.
Hidden,
And then...
I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was considering that. Yeah, missing or non there. None, 0. Maybe I'll just do a none for now.
And then once you've opening, you've got open, I guess.
Yeah, and then we've got opened and on a particular page. And then we've got closing. And then we've got closed. And is that it for our states?
And logically, you either go back to opening opened and then closing closed, or maybe it gets lifted off the screen entirely under certain circumstances.
It just goes back to none. It just goes to none and it's gone. So I think those are our scroll states right there is what I think they are. And so now what I want to put in here is say state, scroll state like that. Let's initialize it to scroll state.none. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with a none. Good job, Rory. I think that's good. And then, so we've got our build gold dust, and then, so we've got our constructor. Where's our constructor on this happening? Character stat stroll. Where's our, hold on. There's a faster way to do this. If I put the caret here and I hit the tab key, I should be able to go to the new. There it is right there. Okay. So, so there's my new right there.
We're new dragon game, not new scroll.
Hold on, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was in the wrong place, wasn't I? Character stat scroll. Oh wait, I was close though.
27.
I was close. All right, there's where I want to be right there. Character stat scroll. Yeah, I was thinking about something else, and I was like, oh yeah, that's going to cause problems if I'm trying to do one thing while I think about something else. Okay. So here's our initialize call. And I think that what I want to do is I'm not going to do anything at that point, I think. Character stat scroll is
Well, essentially we want to be setting... It's the scroll itself that's told to slam. So when it's told to slam, it needs to go from a state of none, or presumably it's got to test that it is already in a state of none.
Yeah,
before continuing.
I'm gonna comment this out, and I'm just gonna use open right here,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go into the open, and I'm gonna check out what my state is here.
Sure.
I think so. I'm gonna say if this dot state is equal to scroll state dot none, so that's like my not bad situation right there. Then I want to say slam. This dot slam.
Regardless of which of those, then we move into our opening.
And hold on a second. Open start is now. So this is the actual open. This should all be an unroll, is what this should be. And let's call this unroll, like that. And so now, so if this is, so then we're going to say else if this dot state is equal to, maybe I should do a switch on this. Do I have a SW template? I do. Okay, cool. So if it's scroll state dot none, then we're going to say slam. And otherwise, let's state dot oh, I think I need one more, which is slammed, I guess. No, wait, hold on. This is my open. Does my open really? I don't think I need this here. I need to really, for the open, I just need to check to see if we are nothing, then we start slamming. And I think that's it, actually. The unroll, I think, is not going to go here at all, is kind of what I think we need. So an open, if we're in no state, we can open, or we can actually, there's another state we want to worry about, which is if it is closed, then we want to say unroll.
So isn't it the case that if there's none, then we're going to slam followed by an unroll?
Yes.
If closed, we're already on the deck, and therefore we just unroll.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking right there. So we're going to say unroll. And there might be others we add, but at least these two, like what if I'm closing? I think if I'm closing, I need to add a queue up, essentially, the next thing.
Possibly. Or by changing to do an unroll. It's interesting. Are you able to execute? How are you invoking this? In the real scenario, this is not so much a chat room based thing, is it? This is you invoking commands. Have you got like a console app there that you're, or punch the button kind of deal?
Kind of, yeah. Here's what's happening here. I've built this right here. This is, why am I not seeing the designer? Is it off screen here? What's going on? Main window, view designer. Oh, is it on another monitor? Where is it? Usually they have the up or down thing. I'm wondering if it is, I don't see the designer on this. Well, at any rate, we've got a tab control.
Yeah.
It's not weird.
So you have got a designed interface. So you're going to be effectively clicking buttons with a mouse, right?
Which
does mean you can press a button whilst the action from the previous button is still happening.
Yeah. Is the answer is yes to that. Yeah, I'm going to have that. So yes, that can happen. So we'll need to probably come in and fill in some of these other pieces right here. The slam, I think, so slamming, I think I need a slammed state is what I think I need. And it's temporary, but that's it. So I think what we then are doing now, let's just follow this through. So we're going to say this dot slam. So we go to this dot slam, and then we're going to say scroll slam dot add, and then we're going to say this dot state is equal to scroll state dot slamming.
Yep.
Okay, and so there's that piece. Then scroll slam. Look at this. That's here. Then we want to say if scroll slam dot I think it's base animation dot frame index there equals, and then we need to see the last frame of the, hold on a second, let's go find that. Not here, overlay manager, www.root, game dev, assets, Dragon H, scroll, slam. Let's open this in File Explorer. There are 8 frames of animations. Well, actually, you know what we can do is this. I think we got a frame count right there. That's what I want to do. So if it's equal to frame count, then what we want to do is we want to say this dot unroll. I think. now.
If we've reached the last frame of animation of our slam, then unroll, assuming that our state is slammed.
Yeah, well, I think that we're going to come in here. We're going to say we'll change that as well. We're going to say this dot state equals. Although now I'm thinking that we're not.
Well, I'm saying you're not checking the state before you do this. This is just in every draw cycle, regardless of what your current state is.
That's slammed. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm wondering if there's a better place on here, like update or something like that, so that our timing is right. So we give it a full frame of to be up. I think this might, we might lose a portion of this back frame, is what I'm thinking. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every frame's like up for about 30 milliseconds. And
Sure.
if we come in right at the beginning, I think perceptibly it may not be noticeable, but I'm slightly concerned about that.
Well, I'm just saying that at the moment, let's imagine everything works perfectly initially, and you slam down, and you do an unroll, and you reach the point of opened fully. Then we come back through this animation, and it literally says, has the scroll slam reached its end? If so, we're back to slammed as a state again, even though technically we should be in opened. So it's like a state machine. You can only reach the
Right.
state of slammed
Right.
after you were slamming,
Yeah.
not after anything else.
Right. So no, I agree. So we need to fix that. If this state is equal to slamming, right? Do we agree?
Yeah.
Like that? Then we're going to execute this block of code right here.
That sounds good.
Okay. That makes you happier. Makes me happier. Now, also up above, this code right here is, I think we can take out this image right here, because this image was what we were using to calculate the draw cropped by index call. So I'm going to take out that image for now. We've got it in another file. We're okay with that in case we need to reference it. What I want to do here is I want to say, if this open start, I'm not sure about open start. I need to look at that. And this dot scroll rolls dot sprites dot length is what's scroll rolls? And it's not equal to 0.
At the top and the bottom for the purposes of slam.
Yeah. I think it means it's been opening. Then what I want to do is I want to take all of this and put it inside there. Is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on though. Scroll backs dot draw. Well, wait. Yeah. All that goes in here. All of this goes in here. So if this is going to be, if that's the case, then we're going to go scroll rolls. Okay. Goes in here. I think. And then let's go figure out what the heck's going on with open start, because I think it's just a Boolean, and that's in unroll. And so now we want to change this to this dot state equals state scroll state. Sorry, whoops. Scroll. Do I really need to do an uppercase here? This dot scroll. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops. I don't need it. I just need to get rid of my this. Scroll state dot opening.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe let's change this to unrolling. Like that. And let's drill into here and change this to unrolled. Like that. So let's come back. So state is equal to unrolling. Okay. Next. So let's see here. So the question is, do we call unroll here? That's one of my questions. Call from render, or do we call from an update with, getting the,
Yeah.
or do we do it the right way, which is queue up essentially queue up a time alarm to when that time
Well,
comes away.
you don't necessarily have to queue it. What you have to sort of allow for is the possibility of changing state such that the current thing you're doing is so imagine you're closing already and you're partway through that and you're sort of 50%. If you then declare open or slam or something that triggers it to go the other way, it's not that you necessarily wait for it to complete closing, it's that you change the direction and you are now unrolling. Can you change from
Wow.
From one to the other without having to wait for completion?
Yeah, I was waiting for something from Will to basically say what I was thinking he was going to say. I'm not sure I can change direction on that, Rory. I'm not. That's not. I think for the purposes of the show, I'm not necessarily going to do that. That's an unlikely scenario, and I'll just jump ahead. I'm okay with that. But Will is saying it seems like most of the calculations should be an update. Render should just render the current state. Yeah, I think so too. And so what I think I want to do is I want to take this like that, and then I want to do this. I want to take this out. So I want to have here, if we're slamming, then we slam. Okay. Then I want to go to update. Do I have it? There's my update right there. And I want to put this code right here. If state dot, if we're slamming, and if our frame index is at the end, then we're going to say we are slammed, and we're going to say unroll now, although, yeah. So still the question is, do we queue or not? Is still, in other words, do we say, I want to start the unroll in 30 frames per second so that we've got this last piece up here for a second here. So that's kind of what I want to do. But I think it's like 30 milliseconds, whether I cut it off or not. I think it's going to be barely noticeable. So there's my unroll. And I kind of feel like I want to test right now. I feel like I haven't double checked all the code, but I think we might have something that works. So the call to open is going to slam it initially, and then
there's no actual causation of the unroll following that slam.
I think there is.
Does it happen within it?
Yeah, I think we just wrote it. It's in the update call. So basically in the update, if we are slamming, then we change our state and we call unroll. So I think that's going to do it. So let's do a refresh of this and see what happens here. Thanks, Will, for that. All right, so there's my refresh, slam. We got the slam. We did not get the unroll. I think I'm going to have to close this down. Let me kill all instances of Chrome. Let's run it again so we can get a breakpoint in here. Figure out what's going on here with unroll. Unroll state is equal to unrolling. Did I? Oh,
tell you what, we don't change it to slamming in the first place, so we can't go from slamming to slammed. Or is it? Hang on.
Hold on. I want to look at open start, make sure that open start. Yeah, open start. Here's my problem. This is, I think, my problem. Is it my problem or not? Well, I am setting open start there. I think what I really want to do is change it to if state is equal to unrolling, not that. This should still work. Hold on, let's fix the code here a second. Let me debug, stop debugging, kill all instances of Chrome again one more time. Let's go over here. Let's get rid of open start where that is. And this is going to be if this dot state equals scroll state dot opening. Unrolling. Okay, so if the state is equal to unrolling, then we're unrolling, blah, 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 blah. We draw the emitter no matter what, which I'm feeling kind of okay with there. But I do want to kind of clean this up a little bit in the future. Let's put a to-do out here. Clean up emitter, so no code called when no particles exist, because I think we're still calling out for stuff when we have no particles. So
Sure.
I want to make these render calls really, really fast if there are no particles. In fact, I suppose I could do this. Well, we've got a for each on the particles. The super render, that's just going up to its ancestor. Wait, there's something. Oh, it's the update. The update, I think, is maybe potentially problematic. I don't think it's the render. I think the problem is in my update call. Do I have an update call in here? Yeah, pre-update and update. So I want to kind of play with change those. And so let's go over into emitter into update. And let's just put these here. That one should be good. Yeah, I think we got a lot that we're doing if there are no particles that are alive. And so I think I can optimize that right there. Okay, so let's go back and did we get rid of the open start? Open start, let's kill it. Now let's run
You
it.
stopped using it. That was.
Now I'm running it. It's gone now completely, and we're going to run it. See what we get. Well, Bennett says I should be doing triple equals instead. Yeah, I'm like a little rusty on the differences between the two. All right, so we'll come in here. We're going to say test open. I think I've got my breakpoint out there. And here goes my test open. And did my breakpoint not hit? Did I lose my breakpoint? I never got here.
I'm still wondering if when you actually slam, are we changing our states to slamming in the first place? Oh, hang on. There you are.
I am.
You have
Frame
a
index
stop
is
now.
0. Well, frame index is 0. That's at the beginning. It recycles it back to 0. Oh, wait. Hold on. -1. I think that might be helpful, too, if we do that. And I'm not sure if that's enough right now. Let's try another test open. Nope, nothing happened there because I think we're in a state where it won't even start it. And so if we're at none, where are we here when we come in with that open call here, test open? What's our state? What's our state here? What's the state is 1, which is slamming. It thinks we're in slamming. Okay. I almost think that if we refresh and we do it one more time, that we are going to, it'll just magically open. The open will work, is what I think will happen. Let's try one more time back over with this right here. Okay, there's the come on. So we're not even equal to the frame index never equals frame count -1. Let's do this. Let's change the state, not in the update, but let's change it. Let's change it here, 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 like this. And then let's go down in the draw and the render, because the render for sure we should be able to get that. Like this. So our render should get that. Whoops. Yeah, if we are slamming. Sorry, I wanted to take this and move it down to here. So we're going to slam. Let's change this to a triple equals right there. I think we've got a few other scroll states out here that do not have triple equals in the test. There's one. There's one. Okay. All right, try that. Let's run that. Wait, did we not close this down? Hold on. I can't tell if this is... Because I don't know, I'm shutting it down. Just in case. And now running again one more time. All right, here we go. Here comes the test open as soon as that finishes loading. Huh. What's my problem?
Same effect. Well, we're definitely seeing the slam happen. We definitely should be then switching to a slammed state, but that's conditional. So are we definitely hitting, I was going to say, that line there?
Frame index gets to 0, and what I want to do this, I think I want to do a...
Are you suggesting that going back to 0 afterwards because it was not in a sequence?
Hold on, no. My problem is in my logic here. It's not, the frame index of the base animation is not where the data is. It's in scrollSlam.sprites of 0 dot frame index. Like there. That's what I want to be looking at right there. Let's see if we can refresh it to just that and see what happens here. I don't know if this is going to, I may have to refresh the whole page. Oh yeah, I do. I will have to refresh it because I changed the code. All right, so here we go, refreshing. I suspect this has a shot at working. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Much better.
Okay, so not bad. So it works once after a refresh. So I want it to work twice after a refresh. And I think the solution there is in this code right here. So if we are unrolling, now we never change from unrolled to unrolled. We never ever change that. So, but we know we're unrolled here. So we're going to say this dot state equals scroll state dot unrolled.
Yes.
Because that's where we're calling stop on the emitter. That's all like if frame index is less than 22, we're now at frame index 23. So we're changing our state here to unrolled. So now if we are unrolled, that means we should be able to reopen. We need a case right here. Case of this unrolled. And then we're going to say the open means we're going to unroll it. Oh, no, wait. No, then we have to close it.
Open. It means do nothing.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. I guess you're right. Close. Yeah. So if I say open a second time.
Well, you could say close. I mean, if you're wanting to do the whole queuing things up, you could close and then reopen if you're open. So you could say open character 1 and then open character 2, and it would open, then close down, and then reopen the second character. It depends on what your implementational goal is.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm going to, let's see. So yeah, I'm not going to do this yet. But I think what I am going to do is I'm going to go out into our Dragon game where we have our open command coming in here. And let's create another one here. Let's just call this scroll.
Okay.
And when we get the scroll, I want to come in here and I want to say character.scroll.state equals scroll state dot none. So this, at least if I can do this, I'll just be able to do the slam and the open again repeatedly without having to to mess with anything else. So now if I come in here and say test scroll like this, boom, and then but it goes away.
Because you're changing the state to none, at which point nothing renders.
So, yeah, hold on. I got that. That's in my render of my character stat scroll. I need something like this if we're unrolling, or there's a few options here. And I think
what's wrong about that? If the state is none, as opposed to unrolled, is it not correct to not show it?
Hold on. Is it not correct to not show it? Meaning, is it correct to show it?
Well, yeah, sorry.
Hold on.
Confusing phrasing-wise. In your switch statement, you are, in response to saying scroll, you are setting to none and then opening. Is that correct?
Hold on. I think I'm gonna answer your question with code is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna call scroll as visible. If scroll is visible, then we're gonna come down here and draw the scroll. That's what's going on there.
Yeah, that's good.
So with the scroll rolls and all of that, that I think is all happening there, right? If we look at this if block right here, then that's all goes down to there. Yeah, there's the line right there. And
it's arguably
it goes to
visible
here.
for all states except none.
Whether
it's opening, whether it's closing, something
I think that's correct. Yeah. So we'll say if, so we're going to say return, this state is not equal to none, and also not equal to slamming or slammed, I think is.
Is it invisible for those states?
Yeah, the scroll part is. Yeah, so I think we're going to say instead scroll. I'm going to make it a positive, and I got you, Will. He was saying make the double equals at the end there. So we're going to say in unrolling is 1, or unrolled, or and
oh, I see. Sorry. So when you're saying scroll is visible, you mean the piece on which text is written rather than the pieces that are unrolling?
Yeah. Well, actually, the unrolling parts as well, because those unrolling parts that we're drawing, those are not the same as the ones that slam in. The slam in is a full screen animation that's occurring, so that might be what's going on there. So or it's closed. Okay. So if that's the case, scroll is visible, then we're good. So in those 4 states there, and I think that might fix it. Let's come back over here and refresh, do a test scroll. Boom. Looks good.
Looks
test
good.
Scroll again, and there it is again. So that's kind of perfect for what I want. So when I change from player 1 to player 2, it's going to go like that. Boom, like that. So we'll just it'll disappear, and then it'll slam in. Now I want to go from page 1 to page 2. That's the next thing I want to do. So I want to be able to select which page we're looking at. So I think I want to have that as a property that's maybe just a number, I think, or maybe an enum, a property that's of the type enum. So I'm going to come in here and say page, like this, scroll page maybe, scroll page, and the first one I think I'll call main, and the next one, let's go look at the, hold on a second, let me bring this on screen so you can see it. I have 2 of them here. I have the main one, and then I have another one which is useful for throws, for like making a skill throw, something along those lines, like an acrobatics test, something like that. So it takes your perception, your proficiency bonus, things like that. Those are the things that are on the second page. So I'm going to call this maybe skills, I think is what I'll call this one.
Skills is good, yeah.
Skills. So I've got main and skills, and I might add more pages to begin with. So I've got main and skills for the scroll page. So now I want to create a property, and I'll put this after the constructor here. And I will put in a property, we'll call it page, like that. And it's going to be of type scroll page, not number, like that. And then what I think I want to do is if this page is not equal to value, then I want to do this code right here. And then I think I'm switching pages. Yeah, and then I want to say switching pages, which means, is that a state? Is my state switching pages? or no, or is it just simply closing? I think
So
state is closing.
Close, switch the page, and then open.
I'm going to close switch the page is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say closing. This dot state equals scroll state dot closing.
Okay.
Like that. So all I'll be able to, from the outside, I'll just say my scroll dot page equals 1 or 2 or 3. And if it's not equal to it, it's going to close and then switch over to it is what it will do. Now, the only trick here, though, is how do I, what am I, I think I know. I got it. I think I got it. It's not going to be hard. Okay, so now we're closing. So if that's the case, actually, I just want to call this dot close. Like that. And let's declare that because I'm pretty sure it's not declared yet. There we go. Let's declare the method. Close. We're going to say closing is true. Or the state is changing to that. Let's go put this nearby open. So we're closing is our state. And let's go figure out. Now things are a little tricky.
You expect to occupy time, i.e. it will be continuing to run for the duration of the close.
Oh, yeah.
So that when you come back out of it, you switch the page and then you call a similar open.
Yep, it will. And so let's look at this here for a second, because right here, we're expecting that frame index is starting at 0 and going to 23 or 22. We're expecting that's the case. And when we're at 22, we are done. But in reality, the frame index, we want it to actually do the reverse of this. Okay? So what we need to do instead is we need to kind of make this a little more general. Let's create a variable type Boolean, call it at end of animation, like this. And we are going to come down here. We're going to say that is equal to, for now we'll say it's equal to this. And then we're going to come in here and replace this with that. And let's look at my frame index and see what's going on with frame index. Frame index precise. Ooh, are we using that? I think we are. So this actually, Rory, is a little crazy. What we were doing in our render is we were figuring out not only the frame index, but where in between the frame index we were so we could smoothly move that emitter up. So it's kind of cool, but it's going to make what we're about to do a little more complex. Okay, so let's look at where frame index is used, just so I'm refreshing my memory on this. At end of animation, character scroll, what's this? Distance between offsets. Okay, that's from up above. Okay, gotcha. And, all right, so frame index is here. Frame, elapsed time. This frame rate divided by 1,000. Frame fraction. This part's a little tricky to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get all this at once. So end of animation is here. I'm going to move this closer to frame index. Right here, I think. And then what I'm going to do is this, is I'm going to say if this dot opening, sorry, this dot state, let's change it to if it's closing. Then what I want to do is pop that in there like that. So end of at end of animation is here. Oops, got to move that up too. And then I want to say if it is, let's go look at scrollless visible one more time. Scrollless visible, we are here in unrolling, closing, Okay, hold on. If the state is closing or the state is closed, then we're going to say end of animation is equal to not that, but something different. I'll give that to you in a second. End of animation is equal to frame index is equal to 0, like that. I think we only need a double equals if we're comparing ints. I don't think there's a difference between a triple and a double in that. Do you know, Rory?
I don't know, no. But
Okay.
I think that sounds valid because, well, I guess everything's an object at some level.
Okay. All right. So end of animation. So end of animation is a frame index is 0. Okay. The frame index itself, though, is let's do this. If we are opening, frame index is equal to that. Otherwise, we're going to say frame index is equal to, oh, wait. Well, Ben, it says applies to everything because you could inversely pass a non-number to compare a number. That's the point of it. I see. Okay, fine. All right, so let's see here. Frame index is equal, I think I'm okay with this.
That might be the same regardless, yeah.
I think I'm okay with this, actually. So let's go back up here and put this in here. Like that. Okay, so frame index is the same. The
So we want to change the direction of travel, is that right?
That's what we want to do. So watch this. This is what I think is going to work. So in our close, where's our close call?
Just at the bottom of the screen.
There it is, right there. Okay. In our close, I think what we're going to do is we're going to come down. Got to drop a marker there. There it is, right there. I think what we can say is, what is it? It is, I totally forget what the property is. It's been a long time since we've done this. It's sprites. And in
I
sprites,
presume that it would be accessed by advanced frame. Because it would be trying to work out how many to advance by.
yeah, hold on. It's one of the parameters we pass in. It is the animation style.
Do we have a reverse?
Thought we did. Pretty sure we do still. Let's go see if I've got a reverse on here. Not in sprites. Is it in part? There it is.
There's one. Okay.
I like it.
But not exposed higher.
That's all right. No worries. So we're going to come in here and go into here. We're going to say, so it's going to be scroll rolls dot base animation dot reverse equals true. Now we're going to have to undo this when we open.
Exactly, yeah. But that's okay. Opens just there.
The open is just there. Unroll is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Now, let's test and see if it works. I'm like, I don't know.
That needs to be false, not true.
Thanks. I did not see that. Right there?
Yep.
False. Thank you. Let's try again. Refresh.
Okay.
So here's my test open.
Slam.
That
works.
so still works. Do I have something to invoke the close? I don't think I do. I need to do that.
Because you were going to use the page mechanic, weren't you? Going to page and then but you didn't make a command to do so.
So let's add the close command here. Oh yeah, let's just do this page 2. Let's just do that. So we're going to say page 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is the more realistic one. So I'm going to so then we're going to say that dot page equals, what is it? Scroll page dot skills.
Yep.
And then we're going to create a page 1 that's going to go to the main.
Yeah. And the setting of the property is currently going to call close and then set the page to the value in question. But I don't believe there was an open yet.
Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. We'll double check that. Okay, so we're going to come in. Yeah, you're right. So all it's going to do is close at this point, and nothing's going to open. We'll get that close. Let's do a test though. See if we can get at least to there. So test scroll. There it is right there. Test page 2. Nothing seems to happen.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sad. All right, let's go into our main view of this so that we can, people can say things like sad panda if they want to. All right, so there's
Speaking
page
of sad panda, I'm afraid I'm about 5 minutes. I'm going to have to depart.
Gotcha, Rory. Thank you so much.
A little longer.
All right. Okay, so let's go look at the page. And there's our setter for it right there. There's our close call. And actually, I think I can just, let's do that. We'll stop right there. And do we initialize?
I was just wondering that. But even if it is undefined to start with, we in fact are going to be different from the page that we're setting.
Yeah.
So
let's go to.
It's not a reason why it's not working, should we say? But it's good to initialize.
Let's go ahead and say this dot page is equal to scroll page dot main, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kill Chrome, instances of Chrome, and let's hit start. Okay, there we go. So let's say test scroll. That's good. Test page 2. There it comes right there. Okay, we're at our breakpoint.
Coming in, it's triggering. Good.
And 1 versus 0. So we're going to come in here and execute the code. We're going to go into close, which is our state's closing. Animation reverse is now true. Base animation. Hold on. Do we have any sprites in here? We do have a sprite in here. And its frame index is at the end, which actually is exactly where we want it. We want it to be exactly there. So we're good. That's happy for me. Okay. And we're out of there. And then we set the new page. And then so our next reasonable breakpoint is in here, I think. So we'll set a breakpoint there, continue to run. Elapsed time is a ridiculously long amount of time because I've been here for about a minute. The frame index is equal to 22. End of animation is false. End of animation, if we're closing, are we there? No, we're not. We're not at the end of animation. Frame fraction is elapsed time divided by frame rate, whatever. What's our frame fraction? Frame fraction is off the scale because of the time. Yeah, because debugging, right? Exactly.
Okay, so what we need is the thing that's going to calculate what frame we should be on, and ideally it should already go all the way to 0.
Why
because
max?
Of the amount of time that we've been doing this.
Check this out, max frame. Oh, there's max frame fraction. So here I've got it right here. So we're just going to we're going to be off by 1 frame. A little bit frame index precise is there. 22.9. That's okay. If end of animation is false, then we're here. Whoops. Wait. Why did I get here? End of animation is false. Oh.
So we're not the end of animation. Right.
Wait.
If we've got it the other way around. This should be if you're not at the end of animation, do these things, and if you are at the end, we've just got an.
But why did the open work here? Is I guess I think we've got. I think this is my fault. Still animating. this is my fault. And this is going to be frame index is greater than 0. That's the change, I think. Let's continue that. Let's do a refresh, see if that helps us. And if not, we'll go back into the breakpoint again. Test scroll. There it is. Test page 2. And nothing. Wah. Sad. Test. What's your time? You got to go. Are we at it, Rory?
I'm pretty much out of time, man.
Buddy, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
No problem whatsoever.
All right, we'll give away.
See you here tomorrow.
We'll give away a copy of CodeRushed in a little bit, and we'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Okay, man. Have
All
a
right,
good one.
bye. Okay, thank you to Rory. Always helpful. I am going to kill this right here. We're going to kill our instances of Chrome so we can restart this and debug it. Let's closing. Let's set a breakpoint here, and let's run it. All right. Here it comes. And there's the load is finished. So here comes the scroll slam. That's all perfect. Here comes test page 1, or actually test page 2. All right, so here we go. Frame index is still animating. Good, true. Boom, boom, boom. This is off by some amount, but not a big deal. Frame index precise is that, so we're okay at 22. Offset is scroll open offsets. Oh, okay, so we're just getting how far away it is. That's the distance from that the scrolls are from the center of the scroll. The actual rolling pieces are. Let's see what else we've got here. Decimal offset. That's our percentage inside of there. Distance between offsets is between frame index plus 1 and that. Okay, so that's just telling us how far between the two so we can interpolate the distance. The base animation is scroll back that base animation. Where am I grabbing? What am I doing in here? Draw cropped the frame index itself. This is what will change depending on the page we're on, but we'll do that later. And then this is just how to draw it cropped. So the height is 864, which seems reasonable. The width is 367, also seems good. If frame index is 0, that means we start the emitter. We need something here that just says starting the emitter, so we need to do that. Renee A77 is following. Thank you for that, Renee A77. Glad you're here with us. Let's see, frame index. We need to change this to need to start emitter is what we need to do. It still doesn't explain why we're not seeing this, but we need to do this. We can change this code to here. Need to start emitter, like that. Whoops. And need to start emitter is going to be start emitter is equal to that. And up here we're going to say need to start emitter is equal to frame index is equal to 22. I think. We'll do the triples down here. Okay. And then we've got a need to start emitter. And we need to put that here. Like that. If we need to start the emitter. And super precise offset is 432. That feels like that's all going to work. So let's whoops, what did I do? What did I change? There we go. All right, so let's save this. Let's do this one more time. Emitter on closing. No, that's a great point. I don't think I want the emitter on closing at all. I totally don't want the emitter on closing. Let's change this. That's a really, really good point. I don't know why I didn't think of that. So let's, we are not going to have this here. We're going to kind of go back to, need to start emitters, frame index is equal to 0. And we are going to, if frame index is 0 is this, but we also want to say, and we're opening. And we're unrolling, which is going to look something similar to this code right here. And we're going to change closed to unrolled and closing to unrolling. So we're going to start the emitters there. Otherwise, the emitters will be stopped. Right there. Oh, that's our, hold on a second. Let me just drill into here while we're here. This dot stopping is true. Whoops. When do we set stopping? Here we go. Stopped. So what I want to do is, I think an update is, I want to say if this dot stopped, then I want to return. That's my performance optimization right there. So I think I want to do that. I could arguably do it here too in render. Pre-update as well, I could do it, although I'm thinking particles would not be there. And we're only adding particles here. So it's really, there's my optimization, I think. If stopped, then we're out. Okay. So we're only going to do it if we're unrolling. Actually, only if we're unrolling. Is that true? Yeah. Frame index is 0 and we're unrolling. That feels true to me. Okay, so there we've got it. Yeah. Will, you got it too. Yeah, I'm like a few seconds behind you, Will. Okay, excellent. Let's see. Let's try again. We're going to try one more time to debug it. Put a breakpoint right over here on closing. What? That's interesting and surprising. Let's just fix that while we're here. How is viewers null? That's really weird. We load specifically, then call check data. That's really weird. Okay, I'm just keep running. And let's see, test scroll. It comes out. Test page 2. Nothing happens as usual. Let's set up. Why are we not in our breakpoint though? I guess I didn't set it. Okay, there we go. Here's my breakpoint. State is closing. Frame index is 22. So why aren't we, hold on. Hold on. frame index is 22. Scroll rules. I think in the draw, advanced frames is kind of where we want to be. I think because let's set a breakpoint here and run it. And let's go into, so now we're in scroll rolls. And we're going on to its draw function. And we're calling advanced frames. And the length is 1. So we've got a sprite inside of it. And milliseconds passed. So we advance the frame count is 23. Return frame index is that needed is sequential stop it is sequential stop. Then return frame index is equal to frame count minus 1 unless we're reversing, in which case we do want to make that 0. I think this might be the problem. Yeah, I think the problem is that we haven't tested reversing in a while. And whatever we've been doing it, using it, and it is not. So let's do something like this. If this dot base animation dot reverse, then we're going to say return frame index is equal to 0. This is my gut telling me this is what we need to say. Otherwise, we're going to do this. Let's put braces on either side of these, like that. So if we're reversing, then the return frame index is 0. Otherwise, it's that. We're calling individually here. The return frame index is there. The start index, the end bounds. Let's go see what we've got. Let's continue to step through it. I'm not sure if it knows where we are or not here. Start index. Yeah, I think it thinks we're somewhere else because I've made changes to the code. So let's go look at, let's take a look at jump inside of, actually, hold on, start index. Where's start index here? Oh, there it is right there. Sprite.frameIndex minus frameIndex mod segment size. Got it. Oh, that's for segment size. We don't need that. Advanced frame now, return frame index. So let's go look at advanced frame. And I think we got a problem here. If this dot base animation, nope, we're in sprite proxy. What are we going to do here? I think we're going to do this, is what I think we're going to do. We're going to come in and say, we're going to add an additional default parameter with a default value. So we're going to come in here like this, and is that going to work? Because we get the start and ending. We've got to put it at the very end of these pieces. I think I can pass in undefined to both of these, actually, and that'll give me the behavior I want. And then the reverse. So let's go into advanced frame, and we're passing in just zeros there. I see what's going on there. Okay. So then we're going to say reverse, like this. And that is a Boolean. Okay. If reverse then we're going to subtract, else we're going to add, like that. Okay. And if frame index is greater than or equal to inbounds, then we're, I think, okay. If it's frame index is greater than or equal to frame count, that's if we're not reversing. Well, I got to get a default on that reverse. Reverse is equal to false. Like that. And if inbounds is not 0, we're just making sure that's the case. Otherwise, if frame index is greater than frame index, this assumes we're going forward. So what we need to do is something along these lines. We want to say if not reverse, then we're going to do this, and then else we're going to do this, and basically have a similar bit of code here. But this is now we're reversing, which means if frame index is less than or equal to 0, like that, then we're going to say frame index is equal to return frame index, and we've cycled through. So that means if inbound is not 0, return frame index. I think that's feeling like a good rough stab at this. Let's see what happens with that. See if we get any closer here. So we're going to kill all instances of Chrome. And we are still building. It's right behind me. There's the progress bar over there on the left. Okay, loading up. Test scroll gets us there. Test close. What is it? Test page 2. Try that. Oh, that's not bad. That was kind of rough and had some problems, but that closed. For the most part. There were some synchronization problems. I think I know what those are coming from. I think they're coming from, and I think I could fix those right now. So the synchronization is coming from distance between offsets. It is, yeah, the next offset. What we have, again, viewers is null. Interesting. Like that. Why can't I set the set next statement? That worked. Do I have function lock on maybe? That might be what's going on. Okay. Okay, the problem I think is over here in distance between offsets. So we're basically saying, let's get the next frame we're going to get to. But what I really want to do is I want to say next frame index and calculate that based on frame index. So I want to say next frame index like this, and then I want to come down here and I want to say this if we are closing, the next frame index is equal to frame index minus 1, which means I really want to still animating. I want it to be, if its frame index is greater than 1, that's what I think I want to do here. And over here, I want to say next frame index is equal to frame index plus 1. And then I want to go find anywhere I see frame index plus 1, and I want to place it with next frame index. And I think that's going to fix the still animating. We're never going to get here, though, because I say frame index is greater than 1. What if I did this? Oh, wait. I think I know what I can do. We're going to keep this at 0. We're going to just play with the data a little bit. I'm going to come in here, scroll open offsets, and I'm going to add one more at the beginning. So I've got the ability to go backwards or the ability to go forwards is what I have one extra at the end and one extra at the beginning, like that. So I don't have any problems with it. Then I just got to go scroll open offsets, and then I've got to go grab frame index plus 1 on all of these. Scroll open offsets, next frame index plus 1. I think that will do it. I think that's going to work. Scroll open offsets. Fine. And there can be 1 as well, because they're both the same. Okay, so I think that will fix the what we were seeing. So if I refresh this, type in test scroll. There's the open, and try test page 2. Everything's good till the very end. In the very end, we have this brief flash for a second. So we're like off by 1 frame, it looks like. But everything else, though, was smooth going down. So I'm gonna, my contention is it's smooth in shutting down, which means we've got the reverse working. What is happening? Still animating. I think the problem is we get to here is what I think is happening. And we go ahead and we just draw it full on. But we really want to draw it cropped. And so what I think we want to do is we want something that says, hey, if we're closed, I don't think we ever changed the close, but basically I think we want something that looks like this. If we're closed, then we're going to draw it cropped. Otherwise, we're going to draw it full on. So if we're closed, draw it cropped, else draw it like that. I think this is the last flash that we're seeing. So here we want to come in and say draw it cropped. And our drawing cropped is going to be our pieces that we're going to need are we need base animation too. It's a lot of duplicated code. Maybe I can clean this up. Super precise offset is equal to offset minus distance. Where am I declaring offset? Okay, here we go. Or I could do this. I think I could solve it this way too. If still animating, or it's one of those two states, that might solve it too. Let's try that with a refresh. Here comes the test scroll. Now the test page 2. Okay, looks like, okay. I think we fixed the second problem, but we introduced a new problem though. Hold on, test scroll again. Boom, and we lose it. Why are we losing it here? Let's see, if we're still animating, crop by index, I think we lose because of the frame index on here. So we lose the other problem. So let's go back. We'll go back to here where we were headed. Wait, did I miss my, I think I deleted my draw. Hold on a second. Let me just undo a second here. Yeah, I deleted my draw. I think my direction was good. I just deleted this line of code by accident. Hold on. Let's go back up here. Let's try it one more time. See what happens with that in a refresh. Here's the scroll. Here comes page 2. Boom. Good. Okay, so no flickering. We've closed it. Now that we're closed, we want to then open it with the new page. So that's the next piece right here. So excellent. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So we need to now find out where we are closing. So I think that code is, if we're closing, we're going here. If frame index is 0 and we're unrolling, then we're here. I think we want something similar here that says if frame index is equal to 22, which is our last frame on there. I think let's, frame index is less than 22. We have an extra one. Hold on. If frame index and this state is closing. Sorry, not frame index. If it's 0 and we're closing, then we've stopped. So we say this dot state equals scroll state dot closed. And then if that's the case, then we want to say we want to open. And since we've already got base anim right here, that's base animation, which is our scroll backs, which are the backs of the scroll, right? We just need to change the frame index right there. So if that's the case, we're going to say frame index is equal to a page, just like that. And it should work, just that numeric conversion across, even though this is an enum. And then we want to say open, I think. This dot open. Now, let's just double check what's in open. Calling unroll. I think that's going to work. All right, so let's try that. Let's see what happens when we refresh that. Test scroll. Okay, test page 2. Ooh, it kind of worked. It kind of worked. Let's try again. Test page 2. Oh, and now nothing. I think we're in a state now where we can't go forward or back. Wait, test page 1. There we go. Okay, I think I understand what's happening here. It is inside of inside our render call. We are draw cropped by index base anim dot frame index. What I really want to do, I think, is instead of using base anim dot frame index, I think I want to do pass in page here. This dot page. Like that. And that, and then similarly kill that. And then we need to scroll backs. Hold on. What we need to do is we need to say unroll scrollbacks.add, and the starting frame index is going to be that page again. I think that's what's going to make this work. Let's see if that's any better. So here's the test scroll slam. That looks good. Test page 2 switch. Nope, it's too soon as it comes in. And then test page 1. Yeah, it's too soon. We've got to do it at the right time. So, yep. The problem is this is the thing happening here. This is the problem right here. So it's not this dot page. It is probably going to say, let's make it this dot page index. Let's create something new for it, like that. And let's come in here. We will create this up here. That's going to be a number. In the constructor, we'll say this dot page index equals 0. Then we got to switch it at the right times. All right, so let's, so when we unroll, that's going to be true. That's the correct one there. But I think we also want to say this dot page index equals this dot page. So we want to switch it over here on the unroll. So is that it? And then this dot page index, we are going to show here. I think that might work. This scroll backs is based on what was added to it. And we add the sprite here, and we tell it what frame index to use. So this, all right, so let's try it. Let's see if that works any better. I think that's, we're getting closer. So there's the scroll coming down. Here comes page 2. Close and reopen. Nice. Let's go back to page 1. Close, reopen. There's like a little flicker I'm seeing. It's hard to see what's going on here. Flicker right there. What's going on there? I don't understand that. Right as it closes, I see this weird flicker as if the scrolls didn't exist. I think the scrolls aren't drawing for a moment. That's what I think is happening. I think it's because of the reverse. Not bad except for that flicker there. Okay, so we're in render, closing. Where are our scroll rules? Scroll rules are drawn here. If the scroll is visible. If scroll is not visible, let's see if we see this. Like that. And let's refresh. Let's inspect. there's our console. Let's do a test scroll. Okay, let's do a test page 2 and watch what we see over here. Hold on, let's clear the console. Here comes my test page 2 command. Okay, so that never happens. So it's not switching to page 1. I still see the flicker. So what's happening? So we're always going to draw the scroll rolls. They're on top. Why? What's my position problem? Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm going to solve this problem later is what I'm going to end up doing. Yeah, just one more refresh. Yeah, no, that's, yeah, okay. So I'm going to solve that later. I'm not sure what's going on with this, but I'm kind of thinking we'll stop for today. We'll do a, we got not bad. We made some not bad progress here. So if I do the test scroll one more time, there it is. So it's not bad. Test page 2. We have a little flicker there for a second. Got to figure that out. And test page 1. But it's essentially what we're talking about right there. And I think I want to change that frame rate so they're faster and all that. But I'll try to figure out what's going on with that. Yeah, cool. There's the purple burst. Let's bring up that test orbit. Kind of cool stuff that we created. Very, very cool stuff. Test page 2 again. Let's do that again. Boom. And yeah. So it's not bad. So I think we're pretty close. I think it's probably our reverse and our stopping is what the problem is. So what I want to do is kind of somehow slow that down and maybe change the frame rate on that so we can see and understand that. And I'll do that. We'll do that and work on that tomorrow. So with that, let's give away a copy of CodeRushed. We do this every episode. We give away a copy of CodeRushed, and it's time for
CodeRushed giveaway.
The CodeRushed giveaway. And CodeRushed is the product I'm using inside of Visual Studio. My team makes it at DevExpress, and it's got features for helping you write code faster in C#, Visual Basic, TypeScript, JavaScript, XAML, CSS, HTML. So a lot of languages are supported, and it's only $49 for the community edition of it. Today's winner is
John McBride, Dev.
John McBride, Dev. You are today's winner. I will DM you and give you instructions for how to download that, and you can get your you'll get your free copy of CodeRushed. And with that, thanks everybody. Thanks, Will Bennett. Appreciate the assistance, the help out there. I just want to end this with a test orbit here on the overlay. See if that works like I'm expecting. It's not. Why do I not have the overlay? The overlay's on. That's weird that I'm not seeing that test orbit out here on the overlay. Is it because I've got no overlay bots on the winner page? I don't know. Have to look at that tomorrow too. All right. Well, we'll see you guys. Thanks everyone. And we will see you tomorrow.